Welcome to Opposing Sides. I'm Sam, a Browns fan, and that's Matt, a Steelers fan. And today, we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. Mainly, we're going to finish up last week's OTAs from the first week, technically, of OTAs. And I've got a little bit about today, May 26th OTAs. And after that, we'll probably just talk about where we think some of the teams ranked last year and how they will rank this year at the bottom and at the top. So for me, last week's OTAs, we didn't get to see a lot of stuff. I talked about that last episode. We were media-less for the first day, and then the second day, we got a little bit of tricklings in there. My really only thing from last week that I wanted to finish up that I didn't get to talk about was Jerry Jeudy was the cause of the interception that Shadur threw. And you go and you watch the footage of it. Jerry Jeudy runs his route fine. He's the final read on this play here. He's reading it from right to left. He gets to Jeudy, throws the ball. Jerry doesn't step up into it, which I get it sometimes. You know what? Whatever. It's just OTAs. You're not trying to put 100% of effort into, but you really should be. You practice how you play. And two, he doesn't put his hands in the right position to catch that ball. Your hands should be up in the triangle position, and instead he's trying to breadbasket a shot that isn't over the shoulder or lobbed. It's a straight shot, and it caused it to bounce into the air. And if you go and you watch footage of Brown's interceptions, I could say at least 30% of them are from pop-up balls of receivers in that same position, that lower underhanded catching position. And so that to me is like, okay, yeah, you can, if you want to really track people's stats, in OTAs, that's one thing. I think it's a little much to have a pass counter and a receptions and touchdowns, interceptions kind of thing, but
yeah,
there definitely needs to be, some more context into it if you're going to do that. Show the highlights. Most of these people are just posting a picture with numbers, and there's no context to where those numbers come from.
no, right. Stats tell a story, but they can also tell a story two different ways. Context is going to add everything to it.
Oh, for sure. It's a very odd thing.
Well, and like you said, you practice how you play.
You do, and so
Now
that kind
he's
of
kind
pisses
of
me
been
off.
known for a guy that drops the ball, and he gets those interceptions all the time just from him bopping it back up into the air.
There's
So
literally an interception at the end of last year where he gets mugged for the ball on the goal line. It should have been a touchdown, and instead it's an interception because he doesn't put the effort through. Now, I don't want to be a hater for Jerry Jeudy. I actually expect him to have a bounce back year. I have hopes for him, but that's the one that kind of just grinds my gears a little bit. I would think he'd play that a little bit better.
well, you would imagine he's been in the league long enough. He should know that, but
Uh,
eh, people repeat their tendencies.
Outside of that, I don't have much coming out of last week's. I do have a lot of good stuff to talk about today's, the first day of stuff. There's already been some good talks and good looks at what's going on in the offensive line side of things, which I'm really excited about. They ran two different lineups for their guard or their linemen, obviously. Their first lineup that they ran was Dwand at left tackle, Zion Johnson at left guard, Elton Jenkins at center, Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and then Tyre Phillips at right guard. Most of that lineup I'm pretty okay with. I liked Tevin more on the outside in that tackle position, but I think having that Tyre Phillips guy, which I really don't know a whole lot about that guy playing all the way over at tackle.
That was going to be my question.
Who the hell is that guy? Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that really is just opening up. Well, what if we instead had Fano on the right side? Then,
Right.
alternatively, they flipped it, and this is for the second teams. They ran Spencer Fano on the left, Zach Center at left guard, Parker Brailsford at center, which I think that's the only place that guy should really ever play as center. I don't think he should be a guy that moves around. And then they had KT at right guard, which I think at this point everyone probably knows my stance on KT Leviston. I do not like that dude.
He's
And
lucky
then
to be on the
he's
roster.
lucky to be on their roster. And then lastly, they had Austin Barber at right tackle, which is I kind of expected him to be a guy that they go, oh yeah, he's a guard technically, but we're gonna tackle guard, move him around, see what they really want to do with him. I think he was labeled as a tackle, but he's played guard, and it's like,
See,
oh,
that's
let's
an
just move this guy.
interesting one.
But I think that's an interesting one of all the young guys. I I believe though, if you're gonna run it like that, your best option is Spencer at left, Titus or Zion at left guard, Elton in the center, and then whoever you didn't put at right guard, you put that or Austin Barber on the right, and then put
Hmm.
DeWand at the very end at right tackle. That's what I would call the Browns' optimal lineup. Uh,
Sure.
it's you don't want to put rookies out there immediately, and that's probably why in all of OTAs the Browns have not played the rookies in first team. Period.
Hmm.
But at some point, you drafted these guys to play to fix this awful line, and you're just expecting it to happen eventually. Just when is it going to happen?
Right. Our line's kind of been doing the same thing throughout camp, just because. So I don't think there was a single time where the rookies were out there on the first team rep. I think a Henshore was the highest one at like second or third team at right tackle.
Wow.
They're gonna make these guys earn it.
Yeah.
That's just how it's always been. But um, kind of going into the comparison of both of our teams and what they're going through right now with Monk and the way he wants his offensive line set up. I was very interested to see where those guys are going to be. I like that they put Jenkins down under center. I think that's where he belongs.
Yeah.
Jenkins is an interesting one. Sliding Tevin Jenkins to the inside, like I think that he's aggressive enough to do it, but I think that you know I mean, he's talented. He's a very talented guy. It's just a matter of molding him into the player that they need him to be. And I know he's already been in the league long enough, but I don't know. I think he could be something.
Yeah, I think with our new lineman coach, I think that we could get these guys to where they should be. It's just more of that.
Hmm.
I mean, I hate to say it every week, but we just have to wait and see. This week of
Right.
OTAs, we will see some 11 on 11 drills. I think even today we did with obviously with the linemen involved. So that's kind of cool. I like that. Um,
Football in shorts is boring. We want to see them boys get the pads on
yeah,
and start touching each other.
they're not gonna do that until
Camp. Yeah.
camp, real camp. Not even this, not even when the veterans show up or anything like that. It's gonna be a minute. Outside of that, today we we did see some looks at the rookie linemen outside of just where they lined up. A lot of
Hmm.
people really do think Spencer Fano, it looks good. As much as I don't really care for Mary Kay Cabot, she was pretty impressed with him and Denzel Boston. The one that again she keeps talking about. She said, "Oh yeah, Deshaun Watson really impressed today. He really looked good." It's
I've
it's
had
just
enough of this guy.
it is just smoke and mirrors. Make somebody look decent.
Ringing the dinner bell, trying to get somebody to come bite.
Another thing that did happen was KC did drop another ball.
Mm.
So that's 3 now that people are counting in these OTAs. The only thing I can do to argue his own to his defense is that he's on second or third team depending on the who's lining up where. So he's not getting the ball thrown to him by the starters. He's getting the ball thrown to him by Dylan Gabriel and Taylor Green. So
Dylan Gabriel started games.
yeah, Dylan Gabriel also couldn't throw a pass past 20 yards.
I was gonna say
Let's
he
be
also
honest.
couldn't ride the Top Thrill dragster.
He's not tall and he's left-handed. It's just a losing battle for the kid. Did you have anything you want to talk about with your guys' OTAs? I know nothing's really happened this week for you guys yet.
No, they've been keeping everything kind of hush hush. They haven't let everybody see a whole lot of the practices, but they've just been interviewing the players as they come out, and really, I don't want to say it's all smoke and mirrors, as you were saying, but it's just people saying stuff. There's not a whole lot of film seeing anything really happening right now.
Dang. Well, and have they always been more secretive about what they do?
No, actually. OTAs and training camp underneath the Tomlin were normally very open. It was actually kind of the opposite, where they would close down the walkthroughs. They didn't want everybody to hear all the pre stuff. So that stuff was closed off, but all of the practices were open under Tomlin. For McCarthy, it is the other way. They get
Oh,
to come in, they get to talk to everybody and hear all the stuff and see where they're lining up and doing their shit. But then as soon as they go out and roll into practice, they force all the media out.
interesting. That
Yeah,
is
it's definitely very the differences between Tomlin and McCarthy are very slight, but in the world of Pittsburgh football, a slight change is a noticeable change.
well. I think in our lifetimes, this is a big change in everything. I mean,
Hmm.
99% of our lives, your guys' coach has been Mike Tomlin. You know.
Right. No, I was actually I had this conversation with my dad not long ago about how, we've never really been in the situation like this in my lifetime. It was barely once in his when he watched, Cower step down and everything happen, but he's been watching him for a hot minute too, so he's kind of seeing this stuff going, "Damn, I don't know where they're going to land."
Yeah, and it's a scary thing for I think for Pittsburgh. Whether it was coaches or QBs, when that change happens, it is the best of times or the worst of times for you guys.
Hmm.
It's either 10 years of nothing or 10 years of great success, and this will be a very it's just a very interesting time for the AFC. I mean, the fact that Zach Taylor is the only coach that's staying in his city, uh,
Right.
and theoretically he's not the best. I saw
I was
this.
going to say he's the one that probably should have lost his job more than any of them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it was time for Kevin to go. I think he was just out of the game at that point. He didn't have the love for the Cleveland Browns anymore. I think.
I'll defend Kevin just because I feel like there were more problems in that organization that weren't just rooted in him. I'm sure he was part of it, but I feel like there was a lot of poison going on there for quite a few
Oh, for
years.
sure. It's again Paul DePodesta. How much did that guy really ruin this franchise while he was an advisor, not a coach or anything like that, but just purely an advisor? What picks would have been different? What trades would have been different? Um, you'll never know. You can't go back and change the past,
All
but
right, it is what it is.
it's gonna be cool. I think to see. I really cannot wait. It's hell, August can't come soon enough.
Ain't that the truth? The I would say the one downside from, I guess, this season in general, being a Pittsburgh fan, even if you are excited for the McCarthy era to start, is that you pretty much have to wait another whole year to see it. Because if Aaron comes out and he plays this entire season under center and he starts and he stays healthy, which, grain of salt, um, this offense it's going to be an Aaron Rodgers offense. It's not going to be a Mike McCarthy offense. So he's going to need to go through and do his stuff and then get on his bike and roll on back to Malibu and let Will Howard or Drew Aller, whoever decides to step up first, they're going to be the ones that take over the true Mike McCarthy offense. And they're not going to have a choice. They're going to have to listen to his play calls, and we're really going to see what it is.
Other than the footage that you and I watched about them like reprogramming Drew Aller, have you heard anything more about Drew Aller in this OTA's set?
No, it's been fairly quiet. I have seen a couple more videos of him. I don't want to say necessarily doing that same drill, but he's working on his hips, working on his feet, doing a lot of that stuff with his release. Um, it's funny. Almost none of it is with his arm. His arm is fine. It's his entire base needs to be rewired.
Wow.
It's all in his feet and his hips and all that stuff. Because when you go through and you watch his tape, there are plays where this dude will, I don't, it's stupid saying it, but like he's got Patrick Mahomes' arm. He'll be diving, throwing across his body, and it'll go 40 yards like an Aaron Rodgers flick. But he's off of his feet. And it's like, okay, how the hell did he do that? He shouldn't have been able to do that. And then the next play, he stares his receiver down on a curl route and throws a pick. That's how his offense works. So I don't know. We'll have to give him time. And honestly, the preseason is where we're going to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited for preseason. Usually, that sounds kind of silly almost. The excitement I have for preseason mostly comes out of just wanting to see what these new coaches are planning and what do some of these extra guys bring to the table. Obviously, you're going to see some snaps from the starters, but I feel like if you're really serious about this, you're probably putting Shadur Sanders into not just a single series in these preseason games. You're probably putting Dylan Gabriel into, if you're doing split halves, you're doing that with them. You're not probably splitting quarters. And you're probably doing that with Taylor Green at some point. I would think you'd get a little bit of a look. But I genuinely believe that there are going to be at least 2 games. Probably more like one, especially because they've shortened our preseasons. But I could see 2 games going 50-50 on Shadur and somebody else.
It'll probably be the back two,
I think the first one's going to be like a series and then let the other kids play games.
Probably. Well, and that's kind of what I was going to toss this up here. I think this is a juicy one that we can chew up real quick. So both of our teams essentially have 4 quarterbacks that they're possibly wanting to try and keep on this roster.
Currently, yes.
But keeping 4 quarterbacks on as a roster management tool is suicide.
Awful.
Yeah, you can't do it. So here in camp, my heart of hearts, I do believe that Will Howard will beat out Mason Rudolph, and he'll either get cut or traded regardless.
Yeah.
In your situation, who do you think is it? Gabriel? Is Dylan Gabriel going to be the one that gets the axe?
I could see him being traded in the last few weeks, kind of like was it David Blau to the Lions? They went and played the preseason game of the Lions and said, "All right, buddy, don't buy a plane ticket. We're leaving," and they left him there, and he was just the backup for the Lions after that. I could see that happening. I really could see it with trading him away to. People keep saying Atlanta is something that Dylan Gabriel could get traded to. The Stefanski connection, all left-handed quarterbacks, weird stuff like that.
What an awful offense!
What an awful offense, and you're only gonna get a 6th or a 7th out of him. You're not gonna get much if you trade him away.
If I seen a quarterback room with 3 left-handed quarterbacks, I would order the military to firebomb that room. That is insane.
No, it is, and if you're going into that situation as a Falcons fan and a Falcons player, I really don't know what you're thinking.
You better be huffing some packs of copium.
You better be huffing Bijan Robinson's gym socks, because that's the only thing you're gonna like.
Him and Drake London, yes. Drake London's gonna be relying on him a lot, but
yeah, I don't know. That division of football has really just become a one-trick pony.
Comedy,
You got
baby.
the Bucks. The Bucks are the guys. Somehow the Panthers made it to the playoffs over the Bucks, but that's just because stupid crap happened and Baker got hurt, and then Teddy Bridgewater played football and he sucked, which is so sad to see. What a weird time to be a fan of that team. Poor Mike comes in, he comes out again, he comes in again. Same with Chris Godwin, comes in, comes out. I don't know what is going on in the NFC South, but that team is the Falcons are the ones that are honestly
Bottom feeders.
they're coming in
That's
at the
what
worst
they are.
position. They really are. They're coming in at last. And you would hate to see Kevin Stefanski get blamed for that, but I don't think anybody would be blaming him for that. I think that's just a bad situation. It's like blaming Dan Campbell for his first season with the Lions.
Right.
Who knows?
I don't know. I was sitting there looking at your quarterback room because I know Taylor Green got drafted pretty late. You know, so oftentimes that can happen where if they just go into camp and they don't impress, they might just get cut and let go.
And I just with his physical talent, I
Right.
don't unless he is literally just mechanically moronic.
Either mechanically bad, or he just he can't get the playbook down. You know, whatever it is, I feel like that could be something that would get him nixed. But other than that, regardless, I assume this is my once again my heart of hearts. I assume Shadur's our starter. Deshaun Watson's the backup.
You would almost hope for that. I really, really don't want Deshaun being the one that's like, "Hey guys, I showed off that I'm good against basic defense in preseason and OTAs and training camp. Let me go out there," and then he gets sacked a bunch of times. Now,
but do you think he would play better than a middle schooler at quarterback? That's what Dylan Gabriel is.
Yeah. I do have, I hate to say this, I have a defense for Deshaun Watson. We talked about it last week. How long was that Browns offensive line truly as bad as it was? You know, they were projected at multiple points 2, 3, 4 years ago that they were top 5, if not one of the best offensive lines with all these guys here. If everybody's healthy, it's good. But then they'd come time to play, and they weren't. You know, Joel Bitonio was the only guy holding it together. But when your guy next to you is always hurt and playing with a backup, how good can you be? And Deshaun Watson has always been behind that line. He's been behind these backups and guys who should be playing better than they did. My defense there is like, what if he had a competent line? What if he wasn't getting run over and broken apart? Where do you land there? And you probably say enough about the Jacoby Brissett team. That offensive line was playing well at the time, but that late in the season, I mean, you go in and you whoop Carson Wentz's ass in Washington. But then after that, you really didn't do much. So
I think Watson would be fairly upset because if he's not getting beat up and getting put on the turf, then he's not going to have any reason to go
give him
get
a massage.
massages.
No, you're right there, and that I don't know. I hate saying that all the time. I just don't know what's gonna go on, and until we see some real practice, we're not gonna see anything. And that is the tough part of this part of the year. We are in a time of year that
we're chomping at the bit when we got nothing.
We're hoping for something might happen. Now we're gonna get June 1st stuff, so we're gonna see some people possibly get cut and possibly some other things go on. But really, we're waiting for a real camp. We're waiting. We're a month away for some true training
real
camp.
Ball. Right.
And that's where it'll start to get really interesting.
We're going to start seeing everybody talking. I don't know how Cleveland's stuff is set up down in Berea, right?
Up in Berea.
Set in Berea. I know Pittsburgh, they normally go out to St. Vincent College and they stay in the dorms out there as a team.
That's
So it's
cool.
literally just them, like it's supposed to be like a building exercise while they're out there. So there'll be a lot of shit talking. There's gonna be a lot of them, becoming a team and all that kind of shit. Them getting to know each other. I'm sure that'll all come out at some point, but that'll be fun.
I can imagine that. That sounds actually kind of cool.
Hmm.
Now, you have been waiting to talk about the Pittsburgh training camp schedule, and you have a lot more in depth of a look at your guys' training camp schedule, where the Browns really haven't released a whole lot. So, what is this page you have pulled up?
So this is one of the local news channels from Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and here it's showing. They always talk about early on in camps and all that kind of stuff. The NFLPA makes it set that you have to have a certain amount of weeks and time that gets played with your people and all that stuff before you can actually put pads on and do that kind of work.
Yeah.
If it weren't that way, I'm sure they would all be practicing in pads already. But first padded practice is going to be August 3rd, right there. You see it right here.
Yep.
So we're going to have at least about a week or so with no pads, which is kind of goofy.
Yeah.
But
All end of July, but at least it's kind of late. I think our players report a little bit earlier than that.
So one of the biggest changes that I've seen this year for our camp schedule, and this is another one of those big differences just between Tomlin and McCarthy, is I want to say Tomlin liked to practice a lot in the afternoon
Okay.
because it was in the heat of the day. He liked throwing
Ooh.
his players out there and getting them in the heat and doing all that kind of stuff.
Beat the boys down.
Uh, Whereas these are going to be here at 11 a.m. So, and actually, it was happening. I want to say during one of the OTAs last week. They it started raining outside when they were doing their walkarounds, their walkouts, and they pretty much walked out, got soaked, did their stretches and all that BS, separated into groups, and then said, "All right, we're going inside."
Huh.
And then they went inside and practiced on the turf, even though they were already wet. So it was like, I don't fully understand those decisions. I don't know if that's McCarthy making them or if it's a safety advisor or something on the field. But I like we should be playing outside. We should be playing in the heat.
Oh yeah.
We got to see what these guys can do. We got to temper them now so that way when that shit happens, they know that they can muster it.
Oh yeah.
Um, Another thing that they normally do during camp that is slightly different this year is the August 8th practice here at Latrobe Memorial. So they normally do it on Fridays. They call it Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
And they go out to the high school field and they do the practice out there and they have the bleachers open on both sides. So everybody can come out and they can watch the practice in the bleachers and they run like a scrimmage game and all kind of shit like that.
That's cool.
This year it's going to be done on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So
At 6 p.m.
it's it's Saturday Night Lights instead of Friday Night Lights, but it's not too much different. I'm sure it'll still be fun.
I could imagine that. I'm excited for the Browns to get to drop something more like this. There's no breakdown like this online anywhere. Now yours that just dropped 5 days ago, so we'll
Right.
see where the Browns drop it. Now with you guys, your guys' training camp doesn't start till the very last week of July there, July
Yeah.
28th. Our rookies report um, July 18th, and then our vets report July 22nd, which I think is a little interesting.
That's interesting that they bring them in separately.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's a 4 day gap. Now we got OTAs this week. We got OTAs next week. That's the final week of OTAs.
Yes.
And then we get our mandatory mini camp is June 9th through 11th.
I want to say ours is roughly around the same.
That one I think will be cool.
Mandatory mini camps Tuesday, June 2nd through Thursday, June 4th.
Okay, so it'll be a week before for ours.
Right.
Hey, I like that it's staggered for us. It does make this almost I got right now happening for OTAs. You're still kind of in the dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not like I said, there's not a whole lot coming out, but I'm sure once they start, doing these a little bit more of these practices and they start interviewing the players about what's going on, there's going to be a little bit more. Like I said earlier, about the people that they're interviewing, it's everything is just being said. All we're hearing is what the players are saying supposedly.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why they would bullshit or make up lies about people having highlights or doing good when they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
So there have been slight stories that have come out about rookies playing and doing things like that. I want to say I said on last week or the week before, something like that. Jeremy Bernard has been,
Oh,
as soon as the plane landed in Pittsburgh, this kid has just been off the hook.
that was last week. Yeah,
So
you seemed pretty stoked on him.
Michael Pittman is loving him. It's seeming like this number 3 slot is really going to be. Oh God, I can never remember this little bum's name. The little wide receiver from Michigan. He got absolutely smothered out a couple years. Roman Wilson,
Oh yeah,
the third round pick. He's got great separation. Mike McCarthy loves him. I watched some highlights of his stuff from last year with Rodgers. It's wild. If you had watched Roman Wilson's highlights with Aaron Rodgers, you would have thought he was the number 2 receiver. Every time he caught a pass from him, there was like not a dude within 15 yards. He was wide open, but there was only like 4 catches. I don't know what the hell that means for Roman Wilson, but I think Jeremy Bernard is easily probably going to slide out and bump him out of that slot.
that's my whole position with Cedric Tillman. I think that the number 2 game for the Browns is more or less a companion position with KC and Isaiah Bond. I think it's crazy to see how Isaiah Bond, I guess, has been playing very, very well in these OTAs. He has really been just being the right guy.
Oh, I believe that. I like him.
Oh, that's been my guy. That was my he was my fantasy football name last year. Before he actually signed with the Browns, it was just the fact that he had gotten out,
He
and
got out of
then
his trouble.
he got out of his trouble and then immediately got with the Browns and kind of broke your heart a little bit.
Yeah, no, I really liked his tape. I would have liked having him basically. I don't want to say take Calvin Austin's spot necessarily, but he pretty much would have done everything that Calvin Austin was supposed to do. So
It probably would have been a good upgrade for you guys, but so he's an upgrade for us. So
right.
I have no complaints.
The only other thing that I can talk about with the rookies from camp is that the guy that I actually couldn't stand that we drafted, Dalen Everett, in the 3rd round. I guess they put him up on DK Metcalf for quite a few days in a row, and
Yeah,
he's been doing very well.
really.
So I don't know if that's saying something about DK, or if Dalen Everett is just doing good, or if those two styles just seem to clash. It could be many things. I don't know. They won't let us fucking see it. So that's about all I know as of now.
Did you see the Quincy mic'd up video that the Browns posted?
Yeah, when he was talking to the other linebacker.
Yeah, well, there's a whole. I mean, it's like a 10-minute clip of him.
I just seen the one where he's like, "We gotta show them we really love each other. We're brothers, man."
Oh
He
yeah,
like
him and
walks up and
Carson.
hugs him.
Oh, and they have their own little celebration dance already. They are 2 peas in a pod already, which I love to see. I love to see a new guy coming in and getting along with probably one of your most important defensive pieces. Obviously, Myles Garrett's the number 1, but Carson's a huge part of this defense, especially being the green dot guy too.
Absolutely.
That's huge, and it seems like they have a lot of good chemistry already. So we'll hope that translates into very good gameplay. I think it could make that defense just, if you're having fun out there and winning, you can be unstoppable. You've seen the video of Myles Garrett getting ready and Euro steps the guard and just eats the quarterback alive. What a wild video.
Well, hell, even the play last year that Aaron Rodgers and Calvin Austin had, where they walked over to the huddle and Calvin looked at him. He's like, "I'm gonna just cook him." He was just feeling himself during the game. He was having fun. Him and Rodgers had a couple good connections, and then he went out and absolutely torched this dude on a double move.
Mm.
Walked into the end zone with like a minute 20 left, I think, against the Ravens.
That was a fun game.
Always fun beating the Ratbirds.
I could not. I remember sitting there watching that game. That was a nail biter all the way to the very end.
Right. Yeah, I've
Awestruck.
watched too many of those in the last few years. I'd like to have at least a couple point lead this year.
Nope. We're gonna go into Cleveland in Week 4, and it is just going to be a high anxiety, high octane game. I think.
Fucking field goal deciders.
Oh yeah, close games, man. Now you have this hidden secret that you've been planning back here to talk about. You have this. It seems to be a tight ends group question, but I have no idea. So I'm gonna let you kind of just take over. I'm very interested to see what you want to talk about here.
So Pat Fryermuth, I want to say this actually kind of got done. I don't want to say in the shadows, but it was done. I want to say like a couple of days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And it didn't get reported on until yesterday, just because it like that happens with. They moved around money on his stuff where I want to say one of his roster bonuses got signed into a signing bonus, so it just got paid out immediately, and it's gonna change out how he gets paid here in the latter few years. But with that being done now, and he just got paid in his contract, what last year?
Last year. Yep.
Year two ago.
Last year.
Fryermuth is a big name here in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
They
yeah.
love him. Anytime he catches the ball, the whole fucking place goes. They lose it. It is what it is. But Darnell Washington is really cool. He's got some really cool shit he can do.
That's too much man to be in that position. He makes me afraid.
So Aaron Rodgers, when he first signed in at camp the first year, they were asking him like, you see this horse of a man that is lining up over here, and you're on the 2-yard line. What do you think about this? And he's like, I couldn't tell you the last time that I played with a guy like him, except for maybe when I was in Green Bay. I want to say it was Jermaine Gresham and Mercedes, or no, not Jermaine Gresham. It was Mercedes Lewis and another tight end that was over there.
Robert Tonyan?
No,
not big enough. I was just throwing a name out there. He's not quite the biggest guy.
But basically, just the size of the move tight ends that they had and the way that they were used, they were weapons in the seam. And Rodgers loved to rip them, just sitting there and toss. He'd throw them to the dude, and then he'd bounce off of a linebacker, and it's a free 17-yard play. If him and Mike McCarthy can get that to work, and he incorporates that into this offense and has this heavier side of the Tex Coast offense with Mike McCarthy.
Yep.
He's going to have a lot more run off or passing first offense, which we can tell from the offensive line and the way that they're set up. But pretty much that whole left side is, all right, cool. You guys are the best players that have played already. Start over there. That's the blind side. Protect it. And then everything else is going to get found out after.
That's an interesting
They're going to do that and then run afterwards. Now, Rico Dowdle's more of a heavier guy, so he's probably going to start off. It's probably going to be the same kind of situation that they had with Najee, where Rico's going to take first and second down snaps, and then Jaylen Warren will take over Kenneth Gainwell's snaps that he had last year, which should be plenty. That'll be plenty enough for Warren to be able to make enough plays. Because if we've seen what Gainwell was able to do. But the comparison here between Freiermuth and these other two successful Mike McCarthy tight ends is very interesting to me. So Mike McCarthy comes to Dallas in 2020 and stays until 2024.
Yeah.
Those are the years he's there. When we go over here to Dalton, 6'5", 242, I'm pretty sure Freiermuth is also 6'5" or 6'4". So they're about, I don't want to say the same exact frame, but pretty damn close.
Very similar.
Right. We go down here to 2020 when they started. Pretty solid year. And then his second year, 2021, he had a hell of a year.
He gets better. He gets 200 more yards. He gets 4 more touchdowns.
Right, he's getting a lot more targets there.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of 20-plus yards. They're sending him probably down the seam or down the sideline, getting a lot more. Now, obviously, we know about Dalton Schultz. We know ball, okay?
Yeah,
we're aware
I like
of
Dalton
what
Schultz
happened.
back then.
Now, we know that the NFL is what it is. 2020 he does good. 2021 he does all right. 2022 okay, and now we're drafting another guy in Jake Ferguson.
Very
6'5",
similar build.
244. Same guy. And now we look at his career here. 2022.
He's
takes right off. They split that year.
I mean, he gets a little bit. I mean, nothing like insane numbers, but I mean, you played 16 games and you had 19 catches.
Well, if this is your starter, you got damn near 700 yards set up in just your tight ends.
That's pretty good.
And 7 touchdowns.
That's
quite a room
that's
in
quite
the way that you're using it.
And you said, I don't want to pay this guy anymore, and you let him go.
And you let him walk. And then Ferguson comes in, and he literally
takes it
just
right over.
keeps going.
Yep. He had his most recent year actually is more close to Dalton Schultz's second year with McCarthy, which is interesting because this was, this last year, McCarthy wasn't even on a team.
Right.
And obviously Dalton Schultz has had a good year last year too, even with the offensive problems that the Texans had.
Now, obviously, Pittsburgh hasn't had all that much of a passing offense given all these years that were going on here with the people that were passing Pat the ball, but it's not like he did awful.
No, I mean he has some sevens, 7 touchdown reception years. So that's pretty comparable to the better years of Jake and Dalton.
I'd say, Freiermuth's a top 15 tight end in the league, maybe top 12. Kind of depends.
It depends. Yeah, I think his reliability is what makes him, like, as much as I think George Kittle is a great tight end. Man has not played a full season. I don't think ever.
I'm not a betting man, but I'd probably put money on that. But I don't know. Oh, hey, look at that.
Penn State boy. Penn State boy. Pat Freiermuth.
I don't know. For me, this is a weapon. This is a weapon that, for some odd reason, nobody's been able to use. Because Arthur Smith, we know about Arthur Smith. So, I don't think Matt Canada was able to use him all that much. Aaron Rodgers should have some chemistry growing with him, though, within the next year in camp. And he loves Darnell Washington, so it's more weapons for the guy.
I agree with that. I think Booth wasn't used quite as well as they should have. He even talks about the one play that he always knows that he should be there for, and yet in a position where you literally could have used that play, it didn't work. And it was a bad day in Pittsburgh land that day.
Yeah. I mean, we have too many of those. But regardless, this is more my outlook on the tight end room. Arthur Smith liked to have triple tight end sets, and he liked to try and run and use the middle of the field while your wide receivers had a bunch of empty routes that weren't doing shit.
Yeah.
And that offense is stupid, and it doesn't make sense. if you use your wide receivers to create space on the sides, opening up coverages to get used, or I guess weak spots
Yeah,
in the
holes.
middle with the tight ends, that makes more sense and it works.
That's how the Browns used Harold Fannin all last year. He was just getting into open zones or, you know, getting into just good matchups where he could body these defensive backs.
Hmm.
So I see where you're coming from. I could see it being better. Obviously, you've had Muth on that team for a while, and he's been a solid guy. But all of this is going to go into a guy that isn't going to play for you next year.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's I think it's still such a odd move. If you're in a win now situation, I just don't think Aaron Rodgers has it left in the tank to get you all the way at this point.
The energy coming out of the OTAs is slightly different, but they still haven't convinced me, because I seen Aaron Rodgers quite a few times last year when he tried to run. And listen, I watched the Steelers quite a bit when I was younger. I did get to see Ben play quite a bit, and I remember seeing old man Ben the last few years.
Ooh,
Whenever the pocket would crumble and he would have to roll out and move, and it looked like he was just in mud.
it's like watching
That's what Aaron Rodgers looks like.
it's like watching those final years of Peyton.
Yes, I mean, he looks slow. I mean, Russ looked really bad too. I will say that Russ didn't look like he could outrun a fucking pregnant cow.
Mr. Unlimited
Unlimited diarrhea.
diarrhea. For sure. No, that's a little stain on you guys, I would say. That was a very odd pickup. I mean, obviously he was worth nothing. You paid
I
him
was gonna say,
nothing.
go going into that off season, if you would have told me that our quarterback room was not gonna have Kenny Pickett in it, it was gonna end up having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, I wouldn't have believed you. I would not have believed you at all. I would have went, what did we trade away?
Sadly, I think the Justin Fields time was very short lived in almost a bad way. I think he was doing stuff. He just needed to pass the fucking ball.
Yeah, that one's more on the coordinator, I would blame. Also, Justin Fields has never been necessarily a good processor,
No, he
so
does
we
get.
can't blame all that much on him either.
Gosh, yawning so much. He does get overwhelmed in the pocket a lot, and it does just become the Mr. Krabs looking around meme. Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go? Oh, I'm just gonna roll out and just gonna run for the corner.
Hmm.
So obviously, I think there was still maybe a little bit more he could have given to your guys' team. But hey, now he's gonna go start for KC while Pat Mahomes rests.
He's gonna go start for KC while Pat Mahomes and them have a first round bye, and they sit for 2 games.
You think they're gonna catch a first round bye?
Well, listen. Okay, never mind. I guess the money train's about to roll out with Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey. He's probably gonna retire after this year, so.
Yeah, and he's just been mid. There's a lot that people have analyzed, especially in like the fantasy football world. It's like you're not drafting Travis Kelsey higher than like your like 10th or 11th round of fantasy football.
I was literally going to say 10. I was like, nah, he's definitely a late round pickup of like, oh, he's like a number 2 target in KC. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He might roll back to being that number one with Rashid Rice possibly getting suspended again.
Going to jail.
Dude, also earlier this afternoon, a lot of
Josh
headlines pop.
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, man. Woo! I hope that you don't want to not believe people who've been abused, but like, oh brother, I hope it's not true, cause you might not see the field at all this year. domestic violence, domestic on disorderly contact, resisting. I think he got even a resisting arrest,
Ooh,
and
that's not a good look.
he got a threatening slash menacing uh, charge. But obviously, he is innocent until proven guilty. But currently, they have taken the man. So
Yeah, that's not a good look at all,
no,
bud.
that's tough. That is really really tough to see. And I'm a guy. I like Josh Jacobs. I thought that the Raiders let him go too soon, and I thought he had a great time in Green Bay. Youch! Is that a gut shot for Green Bay fans? What's your backup idea at running back at this point? Like you let Dylan AJ Dillon go. Who is the Green Bay Packers backup running back?
I mean, to be fair, there's kind of running back dime a dozen shit out there, which is what it is. But Marshawn Lloyd isn't too bad. I want to say he had some decent plays.
Marshawn Lloyd and Chris Brooks are the
Pierre
Pierre
Strong,
Strong, former Brown. He made it.
he
That
follows.
that is a bad lineup. And
Man, that's a bad
that's a
offense.
bad offense. I mean, I love Tucker Kraft. I like Luke Musgrave. I like Christian Watson when he is healthy,
I
but
like
like
Reed more than I like Watson, but
Jaden Reed,
Savion Williams and Bo Melton and Sky Moore all being your depth is like having
dude,
you're falling off of a third story building and the only thing you can fall into is like a bed made of popcorn.
dude, Brendan Rice though they got the heritage pick. He could be something
Yeah,
totally,
they got Kyle McCord too and Tyrod Taylor.
dude.
Oh, once again, another Brown
Former Brown, I
still recovering from that concussion.
and the lung puncture. Tucker Kraft, I mean, I think he could, when he comes back healthy, he'll continue to be a great player for them. But they just live in a room of twos. A room of twos all day. I cannot stand that kind of offense. If this is wide receiver one by committee, I don't want to see it.
Matthew Golden's going to need to take that step this year.
My mom's a Green Bay Packers fan, and I mean, she's been through it through all the different times. She's never wavered in her love for Green Bay. Doesn't matter who's playing a quarterback. She's from the '70s, but this is a tough look on offense. And Jordan Love could get it done, but there's just no consistency. That's my problem. Matthew Golden didn't see anything last year, and I really had high hopes. He was a late round pick for me in my fantasy football. He had 29 receptions for 361 yards, one of which is like right at the end of the season against the Broncos, where they're just trying. And the
Blame the
other,
coordinator.
he has, yeah, well, and he has another good one against the Bears in their final week. And I mean, he has some long balls, but like looking at his targets versus receptions, they also just don't throw the ball to him.
Well, then that's what I'm saying. But by blaming the coordinator about it, is that it really seems like they either one didn't think that he was good enough to get opportunities, or two, they didn't play him into any opportunities for him to even try and get.
Yeah. Now,
And he's
granted,
your first round fucking rookie.
most of the season they were looking at Tucker Kraft for that quick, we need something done right now, and he played exceptionally well. He had,
When your workhorse receiver goes down, though, and your future rides on it, you crumble.
oh yeah, I mean, you've seen it happen multiple times. When people thought that Marvin Harrison was gonna pull this Arizona Cardinals team up, and dude had butterfingers and couldn't make a play.
Meanwhile, Trey McBride is the only workhorse on that team.
And Trey McBride is 7,000 years old at this point. He's getting into that. Who was the
Trey
Oh,
McBride's only in like his third year.
uh, I know. I'm being facetious about
He'll
it.
be all right.
Yeah, but you need more than Trey McBride and Michael Wilson in that team.
I mean, I'm looking at you, fucking Raiders. If your tight end is the best player on your offense, you might have a problem.
Yeah, that is a tough position to be in. That is a tough team to be in. Speaking of tough teams to be in, one of the things I wanted to talk about before we got sidetracked tremendously is I have brought up some articles from last year about people predicting who were going to be the worst and best teams in 2025.
Heck
At the
yeah. So this
time,
is before the season then.
this is before the season. I went through and I tried to find some good stuff. I like CBS Sports. Jeff Kurtz put out some decent articles over the years. I'm not worried about the his validity, his how is this a good source to get an article from. I liked his stance here. And they, at that point, Kenny Pickett is still on the roster. They have no idea what the Browns are doing, and he's really hoping
He's
that,
on the same page as me right here.
yeah,
Slim pickings for the Browns, but all are probably better than a healthy Watson.
yeah, anything is better. And he just doesn't know what's going to happen with the Browns. And he is like, okay, you're just going to draft. And they even have it here, setting themselves up to draft their future quarterback in 2026. How wrong was that? The next team they had is the next worst is going to be the Saints. And they have no love for this team. They have, obviously, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, and obviously Rashid Shaheed gets traded to the Super Bowl champs later that season.
Super Bowl champs, right?
They have no love for the quarterback situation. Tyler Shook never played. We never won a NFL game. Obviously, Shook is a rookie, but Spencer Rattler sucks bad.
Right.
And they really are just they tear into the Saints in this article here. I don't want to paraphrase it because no one really wants to listen to somebody read over and over again. They have the Saints as another one of those bad teams that needs to hit the reset button. They have the Titans proceeding to be bad, and you got the number 1 overall pick, and you got Cam Ward, and you proceeded to have the 4th overall pick the next year. You got better, but in that situation, better is I grew an inch between my freshman and senior year, and I'm still 5'2". You're not. You got bigger, but was it really worth it?
I love how honest this guy is.
Oh yeah, he does write very. You can read it.
The secondary is not very good, which means that a lot of points will be given up. You better hope that Cam Ward can keep up. Is basically what he's saying.
Now
That's great.
that is funny because they were pretty stingy. They were a stingy team, but because their offense couldn't really get anything done, they still lose. They still lose constantly, and it's still the same problem. Their defense is a bunch of nobodies. And I think that still translates a year later post-draft. This is the one that gets me. I laugh my ass off looking at this now. They have the Indianapolis Colts on this list. This season feels like it's going to be a disaster for the Colts. Anyone who has watched Daniel Jones with the Giants over the past 6 years knows he's not the answer at quarterback. The Colts gave up on Anthony Richardson too easily after 2 years, and now the franchise is at the point of no return with the former number 4 overall pick. Anthony Richardson proceeds to blow his face up with a workout band, and Daniel Jones rides this team through the middle of the season and is actually genuinely a good player. The first time we've seen Daniel Jones really do something that he was meant to be, and he proceeded to carry that team out of a dark hole until he got hurt, which was incredibly sad. I don't think anybody was, even people who don't like the Colts, you don't wish for somebody to get hurt, and that was genuinely a very sad day in football where it's like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Right. Well, and it kind of goes here into this back half of the sentence right here, where it literally he's saying like
Trusting Jones in
Trusting
his
him in this season is incredibly difficult. Yes, 100% it is. Somehow he fucking pulled it off, though.
he did, and he turned that team around. Now, the last one in this article is the Giants, and you could have seen it for a brief moment. There was a moment that they really were going to turn it around. Now, I don't like Brian Dable. I have never liked him as a coach, period, or a coordinator. There is no love for me in that man. But there was this sudden moment when Jackson takes over for Russ, and it's him, and it's oh goodness, I just lost his name. The running
Who?
back. The running back. Oh my god.
Tyrone Tracy?
No, not Tyrone Tracy. The one who got hurt.
What, Scatabo?
Yeah, Cam Scatabo.
Cameron Scatabo.
Yeah, sorry, I brain farted that one up. No, I like Tyrone Tracy actually. I liked him before, and I'm glad that he did.
I mean, I like that room.
But there was that moment where Cam Scatabo is going crazy, and Jackson's not getting a concussion every week, and they're duking it out, and they're in games, and they're winning games. I mean, the Broncos Giants game was awesome. It won me $300. But I digress. That's a team that I feel like there was a point that they could have won it. Now, we look at how it actually turned out, and it wasn't quite as good in the ending half of the season. They came up in the peak in the middle and then proceeded to fall off again. But there's a lot of reasons for that. People getting hurt and concussions and yada yada. You know, you can't. It's football. People get hurt. It's not something that we can worry about. Now, I see Matt is vigorously circling the screen. The Giants have a first-round quarterback in Jackson Dart waiting in the wings, but when will they give them the starting quarterback job? Russell Wilson struggled at the end of last season and now has the worst offensive line in football over the last 5 years blocking for him. There are playmakers on offense, but the unit is expected to be one of the worst in football again. What do you have to say about that?
This right here, playmakers on offense, they do not.
Malik Neighbors.
They have. Listen, this man is coming back from knee surgery damn near. He's all right. Once again, you got Jackson Dart. If he's out there steady, that'll be wonderful.
If I'm looking at this depth chart right now, and the amount of questionables that are on here: Cam Scatabo, Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Jalen Hyatt, Bo Collins, all questionable players right now for the start of the season. And it's like, yeah, Darnell Mooney has had decent stuff in Atlanta, but he's never been anything more than a 2 at best.
Sure.
Malachi Fields,
I like that. Decent pick.
Good pick. They took your wide receiver in Calvin Austin, and he's obviously sitting behind Malik Neighbors, but it's like, does he improve your offense more than some of these other guys around him? I don't see it.
I mean, if anything, you probably take snaps away from Neighbors so that way he's not, returning kicks or punts or anything like that.
You don't want that, especially after being hurt once. They're like, yep, you're no longer doing that. The risk is too great.
You probably throw Fields and maybe Austin back there to return kicks and punts. Maybe toss Tracy back to see what happens. But
and now, granted, on defense, they've got some heaters. I love Shelby Harris. I mean, former Brown, big guy, really lovable, good locker room guy. DJ Ritter, good guy.
Put a pin in this.
Okay.
We got to look here at the offensive line because they said that they had one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL.
Now you added Malagoa at guard.
John Michael Schmitz got drafted 2 or 3 years ago. John Runyon got stolen from the Packers. Andrew Thomas was a first-round pick. You have Daniel Falele. We know how shit he is. And Marcus Mbau's okay, and Illuminor's young as well. This is literally like, I don't want to say damn near entirely rebuilt, but we got a lot of young guys here.
Yeah. Almost the opposite.
I can't even imagine that I can't believe they put Malagoa at guard. That's insane. This dude's a freak.
But maybe you saw something in him that you wanted him at that position. Now, right guard, obviously he's on your strong side, but maybe you're just hoping that he can make the run game better.
I don't know. Training offensive linemen in the NFL is hard. It is almost damn near impossible for tackles to go in and have a good year. So you can only hope that Thomas pulls back in and does all right.
So with the defensive side of everything, I look at some really good things here. Shelby Harris, like I said, DJ Reader. I like DJ Reader. Brian Burns, Arvell Reese. I have a soft spot for Tremaine Edmonds on that Bills side of my enjoyment. Kayvon Thibodeau over Abdul Carter is very interesting to me because of just his behavioral problems. The one that I was so sad when it happened right before the Browns pick. Now, obviously, the Browns end up picking Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. It's a great pick. But, like, I was really, really hoping for Colton Hood or, oh, goodness, I've lost his name already. It's only been, like, 4 weeks since I talked about the draft. And, oh, goodness.
Traden Stukes.
Traden Stukes, thank you. You got it for me. Traden Stukes. I was really hoping for them, and the Raiders take Traden Stukes. The Giants take Colton Hood, and then the Browns had one of the steals of the draft. So I can't complain at all. But there was this part of me that was like, oh my God, if we could add Colton Hood to our defensive backs, it would be insane. We don't have this, like, currently the Browns have a lot of depth at wide receiver, but the depth there isn't my favorite. And we just picked up a defensive end today. Or yesterday, one of the two. We picked up a new defensive end, and so there's a part of me that we'll see. I do laugh though that in the back end here, your one of your corners is Greg Newsome. Bro, I was getting real tired of seeing him as a Brown. He had a couple good plays, but when I see that bobblehead running around with his giant guardian cap on his tiny little body, it would make me sad. He would just get burnt so much, and we really came out of that Jacksonville trade way on top. And I'm really hoping that Tyson Campbell can continue to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here at this defense, and it doesn't necessarily look all that awful. I mean,
No,
Tyler Nubin and Javon Holland as your safeties are fairly solid.
Yeah, I think their front is very solid.
Yeah, your front seven's mean.
It is
Arvell
scary.
Reese, Burns, Thibodeau, and Edmonds.
But then the back end of it does get a little thin, in my opinion.
I worry about those corners heavily because Greg Newsome is not reliable, and neither is Adebo. Adebo's okay. I could see Colton Hood eventually probably working his way into the starting lineup at some point just from one of those two playing bad.
Oh, for sure.
But Deonte Banks is fucking trash. I've watched a lot from this guy. I've liked him in the draft, actually. And ever since he's gotten drafted, both him and the cat that got drafted to Washington in the same draft, they've both been terrible. And honestly, I'm very glad that Pittsburgh didn't take either of them because I was like, man, we need a corner. Maybe we should take one of these guys.
I was in the same boat. I was like, come on, I got like 5 corners in my backhand, and I'm like, ooh, could you please draft a corner? And instead we got an amazing safety. So again, I can't really complain. Now, going out of what was bad, obviously you don't want to just talk about what's bad. That's being a hater. You can only be a hater for so long. Now, this is May 28th of 2025. So just after the draft, nothing really crazy has happened. This was an ESPN article on who is going to be in the elite group, who are going to be the contenders, where are they going to land? And their post here is that the best chance to win the Super Bowl was number 1 was Eagles, and then the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Lions. And then it falls apart from there. Commanders, Chargers are on this list. Bengals, Niners, Vikings. Vikings you had in the top half. Are you joking? Yeah, there's a full 32 team list here. I can pull that up.
So, it's funny you bring this up because
this obviously is this is what comes later. This is how it actually like falls. But
right.
their chances, obviously, this is the ending. This is 2025's final. I don't like that they don't have an original version. They just have how it ended up. So it really doesn't help. But
I seen that exact thing earlier today because they were talking about how Pittsburgh had a 2% chance to go to the Super Bowl, and it's very interesting reading these lists because I feel like people don't understand how percentages work.
no,
You know, like even if it is a 12% chance that the Eagles go to the Super Bowl and win, my God, do you know how fucking hard it is for something to be 12% and it be positive?
yeah, it's a low chance, and it's just interesting to see how wrong this list is. Like, Chiefs don't make the playoffs. The Bills get knocked out. The Ravens get knocked out. The Lions don't even make it, right? Right? That's how that worked? Yeah, they got knocked out right at the end.
Correct, yes.
Green Bay goes in.
They lost. Yeah.
Commanders end up being the worst in their division, I think. Or second worst, technically. And Marcus Mariota takes over the team. The Rams, obviously, the Rams were much higher on this list.
Matthew Stafford has an MVP season.
Matthew Stafford comes out in balls. The Chargers are in this purgatory of, can we get anything done if Justin Herbert's held together by duct tape? The Bengals washed out. The Niners have no receivers, washed out. And I mean, they beat Philly.
Fell apart.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, they end up beating the former Super Bowl champs in the first round. Christian McCaffrey does Christian McCaffrey things, but
once again, this is Philly we're talking
this
about
is Philly,
here.
and they were terrible on offense all season.
This is Philly with A.J. Brown that doesn't want to play there, Devontae Smith that's trying to carry the weight, Saquon Barkley's breaking his back because he's doing everything, and Jalen Hurts fucking drooling on himself under center.
Yeah,
that's their entire offense.
it is, and I don't know. It's funny to see the best chance. Now, I'm gonna skip past. They have an article. A part of the article is most likely Super Bowl matchups. They don't have anything here. The Patriots and the Seahawks obviously do not make the list because no one expected the Seahawks to be as devastating. But what I want to see, I believe it was part of this article, is who ranks last. And they had the bottom teams are Titans, Browns, Giants, and then the Saints at the very, very bottom. But they do also have the Browns are the most likely team to end the season holding the number one pick going into 2026 with a 13% chance. Obviously hating on that.
They ballparked it pretty good up here.
Yeah, they did. I mean, Titans, Browns, Giants, and Saints all have those early picks. They did end up in that spot, so they did get that one right. Now, Browns do not end up being the worst team in the league, even with at the start. Obviously, the look at quarterback: Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadur. Tough to look at. They had the Browns taking number one overall, and then Giants, Titans, Saints, Jets, Panthers. Who would have thought the Panthers would have made it into the wild card round? Nobody. Well, they're technically they won their division somehow, but they didn't make it out of the wild card round. Raiders, Falcons, Jags, Patriots. Patriots being that low is also very interesting. I don't know why they were hating on the Patriots so much coming into the season. Obviously, you're working with a guy who he only had a bit of a season to play, but they were really not high on the Patriots.
I mean, realistically, the Patriots didn't have a whole lot to be high on. A lot of their stuff in that season ended up coming from Drake May playing a little bit better than everybody expected him to, and then he kind of crumbled anyway.
Now, going into 2026, this is an article posted back in actually, we'll make sure I have the right ones first. February. So back in February, PFF drops this worst to first, ranking the 8th last place NFL teams by chances of winning their division in 2026. And they have the best chance to win their division at the Detroit Lions at 1. Obviously, you'd hope they are able to bounce back. Now, this is pre-draft, so they don't know what's going on, but they have it listed the Lions and then the Saints, which I do think the Saints have a better chance this year, but I also think that now that people have seen Tyler Shook, I think that he might get game planned around and taken out. Then they had the Giants, which, granted, that division is going back to what we saw in like the 2018-2019 area, where suddenly the NFC North or NFC East is the worst division in football. So there's a little bit of that going around, I think. And then they had the Titans winning their division, which I think it's still far-fetched with how crazy that Texans defense is. Truly.
Yeah, I can't imagine the Titans coming around and being that much of a beneficial team over top of the Texans.
Especially because their
As of right
mock
now.
draft, they had them taking with the 4th overall pick, Ruben Bain. That's kind of interesting to see.
It's
they had him
fucking
taken,
Drew Eller.
They wanted him to take Drew Aller as a backup. Oh, what an interesting pick!
God.
And instead, they pick Carnell Tate because Jeremiah Love gets taken off by the Cardinals, and the rest is history.
See, look, even in this fucking thing, he went in the 5th, man. Look at the. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they give him a B on that one. It's PFF though. And then they have the Browns. We have the 5th. Fifth. We're ranked 5th in chances to possibly win our division. Now, again, we're in this.
To be fair,
it's
up for
anybody's.
grabs.
It's up for grabs. I think it's in anybody's game. I do think that. I think we would be lucky to wild card in. I don't think we could win our division. I think that would be insane if we could. That would be a dream come true. But I think at best,
all you gotta do is sack Joe Burrow, sack Lamar Jackson, and I don't know, put up more points than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Hope you can break Aaron Rodgers' no interceptions, kind of thing.
Because the moment that Burrow starts crumbling, they crumble. The moment that Lamar can't do shit, that team pretty much falls apart. Well,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess Derrick Henry, you could fumble him, but
Yeah, but the history of the Browns versus Derrick Henry, we are able to smother Derrick.
You hit him
Henry.
behind the line, you're fine. Yeah, we've done the same stuff.
Yeah,
it's all about mob tackling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and with guys like our awesome linebackers and if Malik Collins is healthy, oh my God, this defense is just silly. They have the Raiders at 6th. Again, they have no idea at this point that where Pat Mahomes is going to come back. So obviously at this point we know he's hurt, but who knows what the Raiders are gonna end up with?
They're widely expected to select Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, no shit. I'm not clicking on that. That's too much. I was gonna try to zoom in on this. I see they have Ruben Bain as the number 2 on the big board, which I think is very interesting how high they had him.
Well, that's why when it slid so much, this must have been before they measured his arms.
This is February,
When
so yeah, this is way before the combine.
They seen how short his arms were, and they went, "Oh fuck."
Cardinals at 7th. Yeah, that's not happening, guys. You're not winning your division. You're not even close to it. You would have a hard time. Jets are the final team, obviously. They're the worst. They have the worst chance. Taken together, it would be one of the biggest surprises of 2026 if the Jets seriously contended for the AFC East. The Jets have not seriously contended for the AFC in my lifetime. It's just not happening. So I thought that was a funny little article before the draft, who they think would be able to rise up a little bit. Now, after the draft, they do it again. And they still have the Saints at the up high, but now they have moved them to the number 1 spot after obviously getting guys like the guy that the Browns were looking at, Tyson. They get
Jordan Tyson.
they get Jordan Tyson. Obviously, it's right here. I just can't read apparently. Uh, they pick up ETN in the offseason. They have a good looking team. I'm just not 100% settled on what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm not fully bought in on that yet, to be honest.
They dropped the Lions down to 2, which granted, I think people did kind of pan the Lions draft here a little bit. I think nobody was like ecstatic. They weren't like the Browns were, how crazy people were for the Browns draft. But
Now, that can happen, but also to be fair, Detroit has kind of been known to do that for the last couple years. If they
underwhelming
like
drafts.
somebody, they'll take them, regardless of whether they're at number 2 or they're at fucking 32. They're
Jahmyr
taking
Gibbs
that
at
guy.
a first round running back, but look at him. He's been
Look at Jack
arguably,
Campbell.
yeah, Jack
They
Campbell.
just signed him to a fucking contract extension. Now, granted, yes, he might not be the best middle linebacker in the league or anything like that, but he's worth some money and he fits into their scheme. So if that's what it takes to draft that guy in the first round at whatever you take him, then you take him.
Yeah. Now, comparatively, they actually kept the Giants at their 3rd spot after the draft.
That's funny.
Now, obviously, also this is where I don't think Harbaugh had signed there yet. Yeah, Harbaugh had not signed obviously at that point, so that probably adds to their staying there. At 4th, they have Tennessee, which is where they had them in the previous list. Even after adding in Carnell Tate and stuff like that, they don't have them jumping the Titans or Giants in a better look. And yeah, their wide receiver room
Your
is
updates are John Franklin Myers, Wandell Robinson, and Cordell Flott. Those are your big off-season bonuses to your team. I'm gonna rub bleach in my eyes.
yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, the Titans just I mean they were better they have been better than us before, but they were worse than us, so I can't
I
say
guess,
enough.
man.
We're on the same my team is on the same level as they have been for the last few years. So I can't say a lot about how bad a team can look, but this is definitely an awful look. And again, Brian Dable becoming an offensive coordinator again, it's not
Woo!
going to help.
Yeah, Brian Dable getting that moving offense with Cam Ward. Yeah, it's gonna be wonderful.
They jump the Jets up in their worst to first. And I just don't.
Major lifting to do.
Yeah, had major lifting to do, but the roster does look a bit better heading into 2026. I still think they're going to be probably one of the worst teams in the NFL, period. Same with the Raiders at 6. I don't care who you signed. You need more offensive help. And obviously you're setting up the front in front of you. And I like Traden Stukes, like I said, but you need more help on offense. You can't get anything done.
I could see the Raiders this year ending up being like how the Bears were like 2 or 3 years ago, right before they kind of took off and started building their offense with
Yeah.
like Roma Dunze and all that kind of
The
stuff.
new lineman.
hmm I think that because they're with their division, they're definitely probably still going to come in either last or second to last. I would think realistically, but I think that they're going to have a lot to build on and a bright future there. I'm sure.
Yeah, I could see him being down. Now they dropped the Browns on this one from 5th to 7th in this chart here. But what I think is interesting, I mean, they obviously talk about how amazing the Browns draft was, but they talk about we play a stacked and AFC North. I think that we really can compete this year. I'm not shivering my timbers when I think of playing any of our rivals.
No, I mean, like we just said, this division's up for grabs. Realistically, it was up for grabs last year.
Yeah, just it wasn't in our grabby hands. We were nowhere near that one. And then lastly, they have the Cardinals at the very bottom, which I mean, come on, it's it's hard to see
where they
that team.
belong.
Oh yeah, Carson Beck's gonna really take over because Jacoby Brissett wants more money. They're like, oh, we're not gonna pay you, but we do want you on our team. So like, figure it out, bro. Um, it is an interesting little. I like these two articles. I think they're fun, but I I just think it's interesting how bad they certain these teams were the year prior, and how off ESPN was about certain teams going into the season.
Oh,
So
well, I mean, that's how it always is, ESPN and the NFL, they always make it look like they know what's going on, and then 5 years go past and you look back and you're like, well, what the fuck were they talking about?
oh yeah,
That happens all the time. So,
I the last thing I had on my agenda here was you can see at the very top. I have pulled up some stuff about Brendan Sorsby, and obviously today the he has started his battle against the NCAA on trying to return to college football, but unlike guys like Trinidad Chambliss, his argument there does not exist, and I really think that when the time comes and the supplementary draft comes through, I do think that this guy has a chance to be picked up by a team, including, weirdly enough, I think the Browns could be interested in him. I pulled up his stats here over the last few years, and mostly I'll just talk about his last 2 years in Cincinnati. His 24 to 25 season, he plays all the games. He throws a 64% completion rating for just under 3,280 or 2,800 yards with 18 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. He had an 80-yard long touchdown, and he was averaging 234 yards per game. So like that was a good stat line, the ratio is good. Now, he throws a little bit less balls the next year for a little bit worse completion rating, but he's throwing for almost the exact same amount of yards, 27 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, and an 88 long with pretty much the same yards per game. So it's like, I think he could be a worthwhile pick, but it's just about where do the Browns take him if you do pick him up in a supplementary draft like that.
so that's kind of the real wonky thing about it. So, do you know how the supplementary drafts work?
Oh, yeah, I know how the supplementary draft works.
I don't think that there is a soul in the NFL right now, whether they are good, bad, their quarterback has no legs or four, or if they're buried underneath the fucking stadium. I don't think there is a soul that would give a first round pick for Brendan Sorsby.
No.
Strictly because of, I guess, the stuff with the gambling or whatever that came out. He literally was like he's an addict. Like he was betting on like Turkish fucking table tennis and like weird shit just to try and get some money. But the NFL doesn't play around when it comes to legal shit oftentimes.
No.
So maybe like a fourth. I could see somebody giving a fourth or
I
a
can see
third
somebody
for him.
giving
Maybe a second if you have multiple.
a fourth or a
But
fifth. I think he would be worth it at that point. I don't see the
sure.
Browns giving up anything more, or I don't think anything bigger than a fourth for him if the possibility was there. Now, do I think he would be a fix for anything? No, he's just another rookie to add to a room full of rookies. But I think that the physical talent and the mental talent is there. His running skills are very capable. He's got a good body, a good frame.
I was gonna say 6'3", 235, so he's not necessarily small.
No, and he plays solid football. So it was one of those. If he was in the draft, I believe that he would have probably been taken over Taylor Green possibility. But obviously he
Probably had more production.
maybe. So it was just an interesting thought, an interesting little point I had.
And I mean, we'll have to see. Hopefully, he gets whatever he needs to, yeah, actually get into the league and do whatever he needs to do to get better. Because if you're addicted to
Oh yeah,
gambling,
you're
buddy, you
not
need
gonna
to
play
find a
football.
better addiction.
Yeah, you're also just not going to be you're not gonna have a good life.
Why don't you go pick up cigarettes or drinking like a baseball player in the fucking 40s or something? Go be cool.
No, I could only imagine being in that position. I mean, I've done my fair share of sports betting, but like hard limits and stuff, so I don't get out of hand is a huge thing.
Right. You can't let it get ahead of you.
You hear that, children? Don't bet on sports if you don't have the money.
If you only have $10, you really only have $5.
Yes, and that means you can only do 10-cent bets, penny bets.
Which are sometimes just as fun.
They are just as fun, dude. I love my $1 bets. That my Broncos Giants game, man, $300 on a dollar.
Hmm.
That was probably the most pants shittingest I had been, uh, all season about a bet like that. That one and my Bills Carolina bets were fun. Um, but we're not gonna talk about sports betting. That's probably not
Not yet.
not in good taste. So you got anything else on your board?
Nah, nothing really. No, I'm just prepped, waiting. I mean, I guess farewell, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if we mentioned it in the last episode, but this will be his last season.
Yep, they officially
So
announced that he's going. So that's a little sad, you know. But time
I
has
don't know
come.
if I wanted him here in the first
I
place.
salute him as I slide away from him, looking fondly back on the memories all over the place, except for with the
Oh yeah.
Jets. 2 seconds with the Jets. So I think that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for watching, and I can't wait for next week. I think next week we'll have a little bit more about OTAs, and we can finish up that saga of who is doing what and where. I'm excited that we finally got to see where the Browns are kind of lining up their offensive linemen. I know that was a big question for us over the last few weeks.
I'm sure that they'll have a little bit more even as OTAs go on. They'll move people around. Stuff will get settled.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much.